Hey, I'm Steve Vignetti here in the wilds of Vermont doing another junkyard crawl. Now, we recently saw this 1957 Jeep FC150, but something I neglected to point out was the fact that these have something very unusual. Now, these were very interesting vehicles because all the weight was up on the front of the vehicle. Here's a rubber model of these things, and this is by a company called Auburn. We can see that it's made out of rubber, but again, it also exemplifies the fact that these things are very nose heavy. If you hit the brakes real hard, they would come up like this, unless you had 265 pounds of counterweight right here. This cast iron thing here is not an add-on. This is added to every one of these FC150s, and it keeps the nose of these things from coming up if you hit the brakes really hard. That's a fact. This thing's a monster thing right here. It helps traction too, but again, with an unloaded bed in these things, and without that weight, if you hit the brakes, you'd do a nose stand. Kind of cool, but not too good if you want to keep control of the vehicle. And these are always four-wheel drive and always four-cylinder powered, except there were some six-cylinder variants, but this is not one of them. This is the F-head four-banger. And four-wheel drive, of course, here it is right here with the concealed front U-joints right here. Some other vehicles had U-joints that were exposed, open to mud and dirt contamination. But these are sealed, and basically U-joints inside of this. There's also a seal on this right here that you need to keep fresh to keep it working properly. And again, so that's a Dana 27, I believe. Could be a limited slip, probably an open diff, actually. Front-wheel drive cars generally had open diffs up front. But with that said, yeah, that's the story of how these things needed a counterweight at the back to keep that nose weight from flipping the front of the car or the truck up on its face. And of course, cooling on these things are kind of problematic, but Jeep figured it out. This right here is a vent that allows airflow in and out of the engine bay. And of course, the engine is encased in a steel structure inside of the cab, and there's no duct or vent at the front of these things to get air to the engine. So all the cooling was done right through here. And again, these were never tilt cabs. The cab was always fixed. There were some prototypes built with tilting cabs, but this ain't one of them, and they were never sold to the public. So that's the story of how these things were fairly popular. But again, only 31,000 of these things were built in a 10-year run between 1957 and 1966. However, in India, the design was built under license from Jeep, and they made these things into buses. And if you look on YouTube, you'll find customized Jeep station wagons that are used as buses in India. And to this very day, they have pom-poms, custom paint, and kind of the drivers personalize them to make them more appealing to the paying customers who ride them, the fares, I guess, as they call them. So that's the story of how dead weight was added to these things. And Colin Chapman at Lotus would say, add lightness. Well, this is the opposite of that, adding 265 pounds of dead weight to keep these things from doing a nosedive. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Mag's YouTube channel and come back tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawl. Thanks for watching.